Hello friends, today I'm going to read you a story called Why the Sun and Moon Are in the Sky. Here we go. So while I read, I want you to think about this. How do you think the sun and moon go into the sky? Okay, and this folktale that I'm going to read offers an explanation. So let's start. Long, long ago, the sun and moon lived on Earth and shared a home on top of a hill. From their home, they were able to observe the vast sea. Every morning and evening, the sun and moon left their home to visit their good friend, the sea, and her family. The sea had a large family. Among her children were dolphins, whales, seals, and schools of fish. All of these creatures called the sea mother, and she never went anywhere without them. One morning, while the sun and moon were visiting the sea, they had the same idea. "Dear friend, each morning and evening we visit you," Sun said. "Yes," added Moon. "Now we would like to invite you to our home. Will you come to visit us?" "How very thoughtful of you to invite me to your home," replied the sea. "Of course I would like to visit you. However, I never go anywhere without all my children, and I fear that your house is too small." The sun and moon looked up at their small house. They thought about how big the sea was and how many children she had. "We shall build a new house," said Sun. "Yes," added Moon, "we will build a larger house so that you and all your children can come visit us." So the Sun and Moon built a very large house. Their new house was so huge that it covered the entire top of the hill. In fact, it was the most enormous house that the Sun and Moon had ever seen. As soon as their house was completed, the Sun and Moon went to the sea. "Our new house is finished. We are certain that it is large enough for you and your children to visit us," said the Sun. "Please come and visit us tomorrow," said the Moon. The next day, the sea and her entire family arrived at the Sun and Moon's new house. The sea asked, "May we come in?" The Sun and Moon replied, "Yes, dear friend, do come in." So the sea flowed in with some of her children, including small fish, large fish, spotted fish, dried fish, and some beautiful creatures with shells. Soon the floor was covered with nearly 2 feet of water, and the sun and moon were standing on top of a table. As the sea kept flowing in with more creatures, she asked the sun and moon, "Should we continue to come in?" And the sun and the moon replied, "Yes, dear friend, do come in." The sea kept pouring in with more of her children: sharks, stingrays, dolphins, seals, and a giant whale. Now the sea and her family floated above the tables, and the sun and moon had to climb on top of their roof. The sea kept asking, "Should we continue to come in?" The sun and moon did not wish to be rude. They replied, "Yes, dear friend, do come in." As the sea flowed in with more of her children, she filled the house to the ceiling. The sun and moon had nowhere else to climb. Their whole house was under water. So they flew up into the sky, and there they have remained to this very day, watching over their good friend, the sea, and all of her children. All right, we're going to answer some questions. Let's look at our first card. What do the sun and moon like to do every morning and evening? They like to go visit who? The sea and all of her children, right? All right, let's look at this card. What idea did the sun and moon have? They were going to build a bigger house, right? So that they could invite who over? Sea and all of her creatures and children. What must the sun and moon do in order for the sea to visit them? Build a what? A bigger house, right? What happens when the sea comes into the house? The house starts filling up with the sea, right? And they just said, "Keep coming in, it's fine, keep coming in," right? and they get on top of the table, right? But as the water's still coming in, it keeps rising and rising, right? Why do the sun and the moon have to climb to the top of their roof? Because their whole house is under what? Water, right? And how do they end up in the sky? They fly to the sky so that they are not in the water, right? And they are safe, and they watch over sea forever and ever. Is this story true, or is it make-believe? It's make-believe, and we also know that because it can't really happen, and it's a folktale. It's a story passed down from generation to generation. All right, we'll see you next time. Bye.